leatherette. Join the car crash set.
This May Day celebration in Moscow gives the Russians the opportunity to crow loud and long over the West. The face of a people whose leaders would wipe out democracy.
We all know the images of old Soviet Russia, but in the 1980s, as the walls in Eastern Europe were coming down, something really freaky happened. Soviet parallel cinema.
Когда уже нет Советского Союза давно, официальное советское кино осталось.
В России прекрасный андеграунд и ужасное официальное искусство.
Туда вошли киноманы, художники, актеры, рок-музыканты.
Нас гоняют, реально. We don't like any movie, we close your screen.
There's no one overarching theme to parallel cinema except that they're all anti-establishment. They are madness on film. So when we saw them, we realized we have to go to Russia and we have to make some.
Я с вами многими из вас беседовал, и вы мне прямо сказали, с вами многими.
So right after the Russian Revolution in the 1920s, there was a big creative explosion of experimental cinema in the new Soviet Union. Vertov, Eisenstein, all the big boys were making their films. Lenin believed that film was the most important of artistic expression because most of the people were illiterate. But then Stalin took over, and then you have 60 years of socialist realism. Workers going off to work, farmers going off to farm, soldiers going off to soldier, et cetera, until the 1980s when the Soviet regime started to crumble and Gorbachev brought about perestroika and glasnost, which means restructuring and reforming. And for a tiny little window, there was a time when you think, oh, maybe I could make something, and the KGB won't put me in jail for the rest of my life. So this new experimental cinema started for the first time since the 20s, and it was called parallel cinema. The first person we met up with was Boris Yukhananov, who's one of the founding fathers of parallel cinema. And we found him at Cinephantom, which is now a theater, but has been at various times, a film festival, a magazine, and a meeting house where all of the parallel cinema directors and actors would get together and make their films.
Оно взято из энциклопедии. Игорь Олейников листал энциклопедию и нашел там такой термин «параллельное кино», про западное кино. Он нам понравился. Тогда стали называть параллельное кино. А сейчас он уже оброс своим содержанием. Теперь параллельным кино называют вот русское независимое кино, которое началось в 80-е. Все про нас писали, говорили, снимали. Параллельное кино стало трендом перестройки. Если у тебя в руках была камера, то ты был богач.
Next, we headed over to see another founding father of parallel cinema, Gleb Olenikov. Gleb and his brother Igor made tons of films in the 80s and 90s. They're actually probably the most famous and prolific. Igor is dead. He died in a plane crash, but Gleb is running the second largest TV station in Russia. So we went there and asked him, how were these crazy films received? Who watched them, and did they have any problems when they showed them to people?
Аудиторией была в основном творческая интеллигенция, ну, как бы понятно, как бы учащиеся, которые уже пытались приобщиться к культуре. Порно, но в некоторой степени было. Вот, понятно, что, то есть известно, что многие художники, вот люди, кто занимались альтернативной культурой, находились под, ну, во внимании КГБ.
The parallel cinema movement and the fine arts movement happened at the same time in Russia in the 80s. And when we were talking to the founding fathers of the cinema part, they kept on saying, you have to talk to Oleg Kuliak, you have to talk to Oleg Kuliak. He's a performance artist that was really part of the initial burst of parallel cinema. Famously, he was a dog for a year where he would go all around Europe and Russia naked on a chain attacking people. In fact, he got arrested. He got arrested in Germany, in Sweden, in France, in Russia. And now he's the Messiah. He's the Messiah of a new religion, the religion of nothing. So we went to go see him, and let me tell you, his bio and his reputation do not live up to meeting the man in person.
Here he is putting his head up a cow's vagina. Here he is acting as a bird. Here he is with some pigs. Horse biting his nipple. Here he is with a buddy.
В этом смысле человечество нуждается в новой религии. Сейчас, только сейчас начнется настоящее религиозное творчество.
And is he the Messiah for the new religion?
Да, конечно. Это религия без богов, религия другого человека. Я такой шут. Клоун катастрофы. Вот такого человека, который ничего не знает, который ничего не понимает, который ничего ответить не может. Вот такого человека, да, вот такой я, мессия. В этом мое месседж. Я ничего не понимаю. Это мое единственное сообщение.
So the Messiah spent the afternoon explaining his religion to me, and he showed me all kinds of images and all kinds of supporting materials, and I didn't really get it. And I left at the end of the afternoon really in dire need of a drink. We're here in Moscow. It's cold, but we're going to go meet Andrei Silvestrov, who's one of the fathers of Alko cinema, which is cinema of the booze. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Shane.
Привет.
Shane. Hi.
Pasha.
Pasha. Nice to meet you.
Now we start to shoot Alka cinema.
Yeah.
Now, yes,
Okay.
immediately.
And so Alko cinema, is it a movement like parallel cinema, or it just we're finding films that have a lot of alcohol in it?
We drink it together. Different people. Some of them meet at first time, and they drink and talk about everything, about politics, about culture, about everything.
Я думаю, что Alko Cinema – это концептуальный проект. Это проект, который существует на стыке искусства, интертеймента и алкоголя.
И социоарта.
So, can we make a film with you guys, a parallel cinema film?
Окей. Завтра.
Завтра в 11.
Массовка нужна? You must drink tomorrow.
Okay, I have to go to bed now then.
Good evening.
Good evening. So we were drunk and we were excited because the next day we were going to make some movies.
Где? Что? А? Вдоль по Питерской?
I met some crazy characters yesterday. I think the reason why they are so eccentric is because it's so oppressive here. It's so stark and heavy, and they're worried about the secret police, the FSB coming to get them, that they hide in their eccentricities. They're crazy guys with crazy hair and big long beards. In America, it's like sort of Hollywood and then indie films. Here, it's crazy people making crazy films based on sort of very far out intellectual theory. We're here to shoot a film today, and this is where we're going to shoot today, which is an old Stalinist block of flats. It's really stark and cold and gray and oppressive. It reeks vaguely of shit, people picking garbage. And you say, this is the most expensive city on earth.
Ситуация такая. Журналист попадает на акцию протеста. Протеста против мирового финансового кризиса. Люди решили пить, пока финансовый кризис не кончится. Но проникается идеями протестующих и присоединяется к борьбе.
I wanted to understand exactly how Alco Cinema was a subset of parallel cinema, but they sort of just grabbed me and threw me in the room. What am I interviewing them about? We were just, okay, here we go. Really smells bad in there. Holy shit. Yeah. Hello. Hi, I'm a leader. Okay, you're the leader. How are you? Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, nice to meet you. We came here to shoot an Alco Cinema film. They brought all the characters, set up the set. They had a director, they had a producer, everybody. No cameras. It's kind of amazing.
Кризис не пройдет! Кризис не пройдет! Кризис не пройдет! Кризис не пройдет!
What are you doing? What are you protesting?
We here drink for the crisis. Stop the crisis.
Stop the crisis.
Stop the crisis.
Stop the crisis.
Yes. Stop the crisis. We are against the crisis and we don't want it anymore. Stop the crisis. Stop the crisis.
Stop the crisis. You have to drink vodka, then pickle, vodka, then pickle, vodka, then fish. Which, by the way, made the room reek because there's only pickled fish, some sort of meat, smoked cheese, pickled garlic, that with lots of booze, cigarettes, and the BO of 8 stinky men. It was like a wall. And that's what Alco Cinema seems to be, an excuse to get wasted. I've had so much vodka in about 14 minutes that I'm pouring with sweat right now.
Only real enemy.
Capitalist.
Capitalist.
Capitalist are the enemy. Death to the capitalist. Bitches. What's amazing about it is it's not about communism or capitalism or socialism or anything else, because they don't know what it's about. They don't know what a global crisis is. Russia was closed for so long that this is all new to them. It's like, what the fuck is going on? We don't know what's going on, but we're against it. So we're going to protest it because protesting leads to social change. I guess so. Not where we're from.
Я хотел сказать пару слов о том, что-то о природе алкокино. Алкокино, само понятие алкокино возникло, как мне кажется, очень давно в России, и оно является, по сути, альтернативой западной порнографии.
So the more and more people we met, the more difficult we were finding, sort of pegging down parallel cinema and what it was. We knew there's a lot of booze involved, there's a lot of crazy characters, but everyone said, oh, you have to go see Yevgeny Yufit. He's still making films, and he was the founding father of the St. Petersburg division of parallel cinema. So we went to St. Petersburg to check out what he was doing. Spasibo. We're on an old Soviet train going towards St. Petersburg. It's about 6 in the morning, very tired. I've heard about Yevgeny's films, and they're pretty crazy, a little bit nervous. And where's this here? Is that St. Petersburg?
Yeah, it's St. Petersburg. Yeah.
We're going here. So we arrived at St. Petersburg, and it was a really surrealistic scene because there were just army guys everywhere and packs of wild dogs roaming throughout the train station. We're here in St. Petersburg after the long trip from Moscow. Yevgeny's got an exhibition here at the Russian Museum of Ethnography, and we're going to go meet him and check out some of his artwork, and then hopefully make a film with him, which means I have to lie down with thousands of naked bodies and maybe have sex with them. Inside, it's an old palace of Peter the Great's, is this massive floor-to-ceiling, beautiful pink marble room, priceless room. Hello, hello, hello. 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 Yevgeny Yufit. Yes, yes. Hello. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
When we asked Yevgeny about his paintings, he explained that they were inspired by a true event in Russian history, where the military experimented with making super soldiers by breeding men with apes. And if you think that sounds fucked up, wait until you see his films. Now, Yevgeny's substrata of parallel cinema is called necrorealism. Now, during the socialist realism period, you couldn't show death, you couldn't show bums, you couldn't show unhappiness. So Yevgeny just puts all of that into his films. Were you ever worried that you would get in trouble from the state when you were making your films?
Нет, было несколько раз, были несколько раз инциденты, когда мы снимали на улице какие-то эпизоды странные, даже вот пленку конфисковали один раз, отправили ее в комитет госбезопасности на проверку, что просто идиоты, маразматики.
So he asked us, actually, hey, do you want to make a movie? And we said, we'd like to do that more than anything.
After this, we will go to a documentary film studio where I prepared scene and we will shoot.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Where Yevgeny took us next was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's the old headquarters of the Soviet Documentary Filmmaking Union. Looks like it's straight out of the 30s. And it's just this huge old building with floor-to-ceiling, old stock, old footage, racks of 35mm cameras, and nobody else, just Yevgeny. He has the keys.
Like machine gun.
Yeah, it's the Kalashnikov of cameras.
On the other side of the hotel. Вот, чуть-чуть. Спасибо. Russian tradition, хлеб, соль, брат он сильный.
Spice is fucked for sitting here.
Да, всем надо брать. Не таких фломастер, вот так. The best of the best.
We're going down into the pit of hell.
So we're in St. Petersburg with Yevgeny Ufit at the old Soviet documentary filmmaking house in the basement, surrounded by 40 years of filth, and we were there to make a film.
Shane, come here, please.
It's really dark. It's a good thing I lied.
Sit, please. Sit down.
Your mouth. Open. Relax.
Let's start to shoot. Yes. You need to put off your hands during running.
Okay. I don't think I want to be an actor. Especially not in necrorealism films to make me shove shit in my mouth. I feel like I'm gonna puke. And now they're gonna make me take my pants off and run down the fucking thing. Maybe the most fucking humiliating thing.
Как бы нам сделать, чтобы зады пересвечены, а там они... Все, готовьте штаны все, значит, расстегните все свои брюки. Сеша, выбегаем. Быстрее, быстрее. Вот здесь Сешу делаем, Сешу здесь. Аут. Бежите к дальше, бегите, давайте, бегите. Бегом, убегаем. Убегаем все, бегом, рано, убегаем, бегом.
Я бы еще раз 10 бы это сделал.
Да, вот это.
It's a wrap.
Рэп, вот.
Ну, конец? Закончили? Да. Yeah.
I see ball sacks.
Все, спасибо.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever done. What's amazing about St. Petersburg is you come here and they're filming in 35 with old Soviet cameras. And they have hand generators. They're saying, let's be surrealist like the 1920s. I was acting with a guy there who's been 30 years in Soviet cinema, who was eating dirt before he went out to pull his pants down from a ground that hasn't been swept since 1936. And then you walk into this room, which is a forgotten room, and you look around and go, this is maybe the most beautiful soundstage of all time. And it's totally forgotten. It's fucking the last bastion of real filmmaking. And I'm drunk. Cheers again. На здоровье. На здоровье.
After shooting that film, I passed out dead drunk. And the minute I woke up, I got in a car, went to the airport and said, put me on any plane, the first plane out of here. Because I got sick of drinking 24 hours a day. I was sick of people asking me for papers every 2 blocks, the military, the police. I got sick of the cold, the gray, the oppression. But when I got the film from Yevgeny and watched it, I got a little glimpse into Russia and what parallel cinema is. Russia is oppressive, it's hard, and it's hard drinking. But out of this oppression can come great art. And I felt very blessed because I don't think this will be able to happen much longer. When I was there, the Cold War rhetoric was really heating up. Putin is anti-America, Russia is anti-America. It's getting to be like the Cold War never ended.
I think now we have the censorship.
Would you say it's the same political climate as before with the Soviet Union?
Is it for TV? I don't know.
Одно и то же. Никакой разницы нет. Тогда было КГБ, сейчас КГБ. Чем изменилось? Тогда была одна партия, сейчас одна партия. А такое же положение. Я и тогда работал, делал, что хотел, и сейчас я делаю, что хочу. Свободен, я свободен.